Hello, this is Dietrich von Seggern. I'm Managing Director at Callas Software, and I'd like to introduce you into profile creation with pdfToolbox. This is what I plan to do, a short introduction into what profiles are and why would you want to edit them. And then we will have a practical look into how you could create your own profiles in pdfToolbox. So pdfToolbox is controlled by a profile. So most of the things that you would do with pdfToolbox would be controlled, adjusted, set up in a profile. A profile is any combination of fix-ups that actually modify the file, possibly decorations that add stuff to the file, or checks or validation of the PDF file. Important to understand when you edit profiles is that whenever you execute something, first fix-ups are applied. So first the PDF file is modified and then checks. So if a profile has fix-ups and checks, then first the fix-ups are executed so that the PDF file is being modified, and then the PDF file is checked according to the checks on the profile. If you would want to modify that order, you can do that, but then you would have to use a process plan. And we will cover briefly on process plan at the end of this brief session. As you may know, pdfToolbox is a desktop solution, but it also is a command line tool or a library or a pdfToolbox server and hot folder application. But in any application where you would use profiles, you always have to edit them in pdfToolbox Desktop. As an alternative, you can use Acrobat Preflight, which is based on the same engine. In both cases, you would then export the profile in order to actually use it with, let's say, pdfToolbox CLI, the command line module. And that you can do in pdfToolbox Desktop even without having a license for pdfToolbox. So even in demo mode, when you don't have a license, when pdfToolbox is not activated, you can edit profiles. And then pdfToolbox Desktop has for editing a check engine if you want, or a fix-up engine. And the check engine has more than 1,000 different PDF properties that you have access to, that you can combine with each other. And fix-ups are based or can be based on more than 200 different fix-ups. So in this session, I won't cover and I can't cover any of these PDF properties for checking or configurable fix-ups for corrections. So we don't want to touch on that. I only want to show you the mechanics of the engine and how you would create a fix-up or a check. But so far the theory and the background, let's now really have a look into pdfToolbox. So I'm switching to pdfToolbox here, and we have the desktop tool, the standalone tool here. You could also run pdfToolbox Desktop as an Acrobat plugin, and I have already opened the profile list. And then let's just select one of the profiles here. So we will use sheet-fed offset, CMYK, and spot colors throughout this video. And then you see that there is, for every active or selected profile, you have an edit button here. If I click on here, it opens the editor. And the first thing you notice, most of the stuff is gray here, so you can't edit. What you can do is you can unlock the thing and then it becomes editable. And then on the left-hand side, you have the list of the profiles in my library here. What we call the wizard is at the top here. So there is a document section. These are easy to set up checks. So I could say, okay, give me an error if the PDF file requires at least Acrobat 5. So if there are any features that are only supported in Acrobat 5 but not in Acrobat 4, give me an error. But I don't want to do that here, so I'm disabling that again. And there are similar easy to set up checks here, but I don't want to talk too much about that right here, because that is the easy stuff, very much straightforward. We rather concentrate on custom checks over here and custom fix-ups. The only thing that I want to mention in this context is that an important thing in pdfToolbox is standards compliance, and you can set up validation, and that is the wizard part that we are seeing right now, or converting to standards. And I just want to show you that there are some interdependencies between these two. So if I go to standard compliance, I actually can't change anything here. And the very reason is that the same profile also converts to a standard. So only if I would disable conversion here, I'm able to modify checking here. So, and that makes full sense, because if I want to convert to a standard, pdfToolbox will always also check compliance with it. And as I've said before, it would then first convert to the standard and then validate against the standard. And then there are some more interdependencies here. So if I select, for instance, pdfX3, it automatically checks on the pdfX1a and the previous version of pdfX3, because a pdfX3 file automatically is compliant with these other standards. So that is just written up in the standard. So these are the interdependencies here. And then just one more thing. If we go back here and convert to the PDF file to pdfX4, then I can say apply fix-ups or don't apply fix-ups. And if you want to know more about that, you have a question mark here, and if I hit on that, I see that if apply fix-ups is off, there are only a handful of fix-ups that are executed when used. But if I switch that on, and then there are two more parameters here, there is a much longer list of fix-ups. So this allows you to find out what fix-ups are actually configured when a PDF file is converted, in this example, to pdfX4. And similarly for PDFA1A or PDFA2, so all the check mark here tells me what is behind. And again here, if I apply fix-ups, the list is much longer. So, but finally, let's have a brief look into what fix-ups are configured here, and have maybe we should just look into one of them. So here is move annotations out of page area, and then if I want to edit it, and I'm clicking on edit, I first notice that everything is gray here, and that is because it is locked. Because it's not just used in this profile, it's also used in other profiles, and because those are locked, I can't edit it. If I would want to, I have a duplicate button here, and if I click on here, it creates me a duplicate of that fix-up, so it adds copy1 to its name, and then I'm able to configure here. And then you can see that there are various settings here. So basically this fix-up is configured to deal with annotations in order to convert them or make them compatible with pdfX4, which basically means they have to be moved out of bleedbox. And multimedia annotations have to be fully removed because they are not allowed, custom annotations neither. So this has been set up to work, and I have here the standard view and a list view, which gives me a more concise display. And then let's have another look at another one, which is called overprint black. Set black text to overprint. Let's again duplicate the thing. And then this is simple. It just has a single pop-up, which says text right now. And here I can limit the black text I can limit what is being set to overprint to text, to vector text, and then to various other filters in this list, and we'll get back to that later on in this video. So, but for now, I think we have a little bit of an understanding how a profile is being set up. It has a custom of fix-ups, a number of fix-ups that are executed first, and then a number of checks. And the checks are either here in the wizard or in the custom checks section. And we will get back to that in just a short time. So, but for now, let's just discard everything so that we are back at our profile. So, first exercise. So let's now modify a profile and add a fix-up to an existing profile. So let's go back, and now instead of just editing it, we're creating a duplicate of the profile that we will then modify. So we duplicate it and we say this is, let's say, for profile editing video. So that's what is it about. And now we want to save the thing first, and then we open a PDF file. I have prepared one here, and yeah, let's have a look. So this is the file that will that I am going to work with, and maybe we just apply the profile here that we've just created, the duplicate, to this PDF file. I click on Analyze and Fix, and I'm saving it to Results. And it now applies, it has set some black text to overprint, and has done some more stuff, and it has found a remaining issue, which is that there is some image resolution which is below what has been set up here. So it is in between 150 and 225 ppi. But the other thing that we may notice is that there is something here which could also be problematic, and that is we have cut marks here. We don't have any bleed. So this is, when being printed and cut along here, that would be a real problem for the cutter, for the cutting machine. So maybe we should first try to get rid of that problem and to add bleed to here. So let's then just use our profile that we have created before, edit that, go to custom fix-up, and then I haven't said that before. In the middle column here, these are the fix-ups that are associated with our profile here. On the right-hand side, I have some more fix-ups, and that is just a repository of fix-ups that is present in my library here, which is prepress, color, and transparency. And these are not associated with the profile. So maybe we are lucky and can find something that is related to bleed. And as always in pdfToolbox, I have this search field here, and if I enter bleed, it tells me that indeed there is something that is called generate 2mm bleed from page content, which sounds great. So let's have a look into that fix-up by clicking on the edit button here, and it says yes, the method that is being used, it mirrors to the edges here, but maybe we should just switch to edges and corners, because that is what we want. We have corners here, and we don't want these corners to remain white. So let's go to edges and corners. We can keep the name, I think. The width 2 millimeter, yeah, that suffices. And then we say, yeah, it's creating an image, so let's keep 300 ppi, that sounds good. And we want that to all edges of the PDF file. We don't want to filter this any further, so this sounds good. We are saving it, and in order now to associate that with a profile, we have to hit here the arrow, and that will copy it into the left column, and then thereby associating it with the PDF file, with a profile. So, and when we now save it and run it again, and just give it a new name, or PDF file, you see it has added some bleed here. Where we need red, it has added red. Where we need black, there is black. Where we want to have white, there is white. So this is looking much better than before. And what we have done is, we go back to our presentation, we have added a fix-up to an existing profile, and that actually worked. So next exercise, now we want to create a new fix-up with a filter, and then we want to use test mode. So I want to show you two more things. Let's go back to our PDF file here, and the thing that still annoys us, that there is the warning here, it's not an error, a warning about this image. We can open it, or we can double click it here. Then we see that we can also use the snap view to see what is really the problem. And then we see that the glass here actually has a resolution of only 214 ppi, but our rules say it should at least be 225. So let's now have a look whether we can find something that allows us to fix that too. So we go to here, and then we see whether we have something that, let's say we want to upsample the image. Let's have a look. So, and then we can see that we see many downsample fix-ups that are pre-configured, but nothing that would allow us to upsample. But maybe we have a look into one of these here, and now let's duplicate this one and see whether this could possibly work. But it would say downsample to, and I mean what we want to do is we say every image, what we want to do, every image that is above 200. So we say if an image is above 200, then we are fine with just upsampling it to 225. And then we don't want to modify the compression, so we say retain existing, and then we say if the existing would be JPEG or so, then we want to use maximum as a compression. And then we should say what we want to do. We don't want to downsample, we want to upsample. We remove the copy here at the end, and we say upsample color images to 225 ppi if above 200 ppi. So now at least the name says what we want to do. We remove the command, and then we have this test button here, and that allows us to just find out what is going to happen if we would save it now. So I could say okay, and then apply it and then see what happens, but it's maybe much faster to just hit here, and I have just done so. and it opens a new window, shows me the original PDF file on the left hand side, and on the right hand side it shows me what has happened. And I see it has upsampled 13 images, so that is actually not what we expected it to do. We only expected it to upsample one image. And yes, what it probably has done is there are various images here. We said target resolution is 225, and it has now downsampled and upsampled all images to 225. So that is not what we want to do. So what could we do right now? I think the best would be to look into the manual. And luckily, pdfToolbox has an online manual, so we just enter help here and go into the pdfToolbox manual. So help.callassoftware.com is the online documentation, and here we just enter upsample, and I have tried that before, therefore I have a suggestion here already. And if we now search, we see that there is an article dedicated to this, and that explains apparently what to do. And we were on the right track actually. So also in this article we see it's using the downsample fix-up, but what it uses here, it uses a filter in order to further limit the number of images that are being modified. And now, of course, I know what I'm doing here, so let's just try that. So we want to further filter this to images, and now we just look for resolution, and then we see that there are various filters that are related to resolution. So we want to find only color and grayscale images. So let's pick one, let's pick this one. And now we have it, but now we don't want to edit it. We would duplicate it. So again, we can duplicate here. I'm clicking onto here, and then it allows me to find only images that are what we want is we only want to convert images that are below 225. So that's what we want to do. Bits per color component, yeah, that would limit it to only images with grayscale images, and it wouldn't take bitmaps into account, so that makes sense. So let's say resolution of color and grayscale images is less than 225, so that we are not confused later on. And then we just use that filter here. And now let's test it again. And it now only applies this to one object, so that seems to work. Now let's say save it. And what I didn't have done is I haven't assigned it to the profile, so I have to click on the arrow here in order to make this part of the profile. And then if I now save the profile and try out what we have accomplished, say this is my second result, it does some more stuff, and it has upsampled one image here, and now all the images in the file comply to our rules, which say every image resolution for color and grayscale images have to use at least 225 ppi. So now let's see what's next. So that is what I wanted to say about fix-ups. You have seen there are various fix-ups in here. Maybe we should do just one more thing. You have seen fix-ups as part of a profile. You also have the same number of profiles that are here in our library over here in the single fix-up section, and here as well in the profiles you can also create new fix-ups based on on the number of unconfigured fix-ups over here. And then there are very simple ones like adjust dot gain or adjust colors for PDF-based ISO standard. And then there are more complex ones like here the color conversion that applies an ICC-based color conversion, or I just want to mention very few ones related to color, or the mapping that would map a certain CMYK or other color combination to, let's say, a spot color or so. There are various fix-up that you may want to configure, but as I've said before, this is not and should not be part of our short video here. So let's get back to our agenda. What we want to have a look into next are checks. And checks, again, are similar to fix-ups. They are being set up, but the mechanics is a little different. Checks consist of more than one condition, what we call a condition. And all conditions in a check are combined with a logical AND. And a condition, every condition uses a property. For instance, font is embedded, with an operator which then would say font is embedded is true, or font is embedded is not true. And then that is because this font is embedded property is a Boolean one. You could also say font name is, and then it would be a string, and then you could say font name is equal to, and then let's say Arial or Helvetica or Times or whatsoever. So then it would compare the name of a font with a text, or you can have a number, and then there are very few special types, but most of the properties are either Boolean, number, or string. So let's now create a new check. So we go back to our profile here, and then we just edit it. And now we're not going to custom fix-ups, but we go to custom checks. And then we just pick one, and this one is here Korea inside Toolbox. And if we hit the edit button here, we again see, yes, everything is grayed out, and we already know why that is. We need to create a duplicate. And now it says base font name equal to, so we have something of type string here, equal to Korea, and it would give us a hit if it would find any text in the page area where Korea is used. And this is further limited to only objects, as you can see here on the left hand side, only objects inside Toolbox. And if we can just apply it here by using the test button again, and no surprise, we don't have that problem in here. And just to show a little bit how the mechanics works here, we could say instead of equals, it begins with S. Let's just now try that out. And now we have 18 matches, and it has found lots of text here. All uses sans, which definitely starts with an S, so the engine is right in finding this. And if I double click and on entry here, you see that there is an indication in the page area on the left hand side. So that is how checks work. So far, I guess, fairly easy. And now I could create combinations. So let's just say we want to combine it with another check for a color. So then we add that here, and then we say base color space name contains, let's say, CMYK. So now it would show all text that where the font name begins with an S and which uses CMYK as the color space. And that would include ICC-based CMYK as well as device CMYK. And now if I hit the test button, it shows me that we have only 17 matches here. So there's something, I think it were 18 before. And now I just want to show you if we switch to RGB and test it, we see there isn't anything. And that is why these two conditions are combined, as I've said before, with a logical AND. So all text has to apply to comply to both conditions here. If I would want to say one of the conditions is enough, so I want, instead of a logical AND, I want to have a logical OR, I could do that as well. And then I would just say fire if any condition is met. So and now it would find every object that is RGB or every text that uses a font that begins with S. I happily agree it doesn't make too much sense, but you can set that up. So let's use CMYK instead, because we don't have RGB, and test that again. And that now it has found 52 matches, basically everything that is either CMYK or text with font name S or both. So that was the exercise for checks, and what I also wanted to show to you how powerful these test buttons are. They have been introduced with pdfToolbox 10 only recently, and it's really a time saver. So, but now let's just cancel what we have done. We don't need that. It wasn't too useful what we've just created. Just again, similar to the fix-ups, we have an area here for single checks. So if I would want to, I could also create a single check or apply a single check to our PDF file here. So for checks, now we are at process plans, and I think this will be very short. What is a process plan? A process plan is a sequence of steps. Other than a profile, here we have a sequence, and the user can define what sequence is needed. So let's stick with our PDF file, and what we want to do is we want to convert a PDF file. Everything that uses RGB should be converted to CMYK, but we also want to have a report about what objects had been converted in the first place. So let's go back to our original PDF file here. And then we go to the profile section. We don't want to see this profile anymore. We use a filter here and just display process plans. And then we see that there already is a process plan that checks for non-CMYK color, creates a report, and then converts everything to CMYK, which sounds as if it would do just what we wanted to do. And now click on edit here, and again we shouldn't do that. We should create a duplicate so that we see better. And then we see, okay, there first is a check. So we have a sequence here. The first step is a check. It checks for objects that use non-CMYK color. And again, we could enter here to edit it. And now we could hit the test button, and then we see, yes, in this PDF file, there is actually non-CMYK color, and as I had suspected, there are many RGB color RGB color objects. So that is good, doing what we want to do. Then it creates a PDF mask report, and then it converts everything to ISO-coded, and then it flattens transparency. So that sounds good. Let's just do that. And then we just overwrite our previous result here. And it now runs through the process plan, and it has indeed created a report. And if we want, we could view that in Acrobat. I have to switch off a full screen mode first, and then I have my report, and on page 1 I see various entries, and it shows me all objects that are using non-CMYK color, and also which color is currently used, which is RGB in all of these cases. So when would you use a process plan? First, as I've said, regular in a profile, first fix-ups are executed and then checks. And just as in the example that we have seen where colors are converted first and then other corrections were applied, you could do first a check, and as we have done, we checked for RGB and then do conversions. Or you want to use actions that come from the switchboard. Or you want to apply fix-ups to results from other fix-ups, so you have some order. Or you need conditional processing, where only in certain circumstances you would execute certain steps. So these are just a number of reasons, and you may wonder what this is, actions in a switchboard. And that brings us to the switchboard. And basically an action is something that can't reasonably represented by a fix-up, a conversion or an import of a PDF file into your current PDF file, or an imposition scheme, for instance. And let's have one look at that as well. So I have here another PDF file, which is a brochure something, and if we go through the pages, we have on the left hand side page number 4, right hand side page number 5. So this is what is called reader spreads. So these are pages left hand side, right hand side, but if you want to print it and bind it as a brochure, this is not going to work. There you won't have to have it different. And you can now open the switchboard, and what you can do is you can apply split and half, which would basically split all your double pages into single pages, and you could then apply the booklet action. So then you have the single pages, and then you would impose it as a booklet. But even easier, you can use a process plan. And then we can just unlock it here. This is it's using the same actions as we have seen in the switchboard, but as in a combination. So first split in half, and then booklet. And now let's just try that out on our PDF file here. Yeah, it has already done what we asked it to do, and now we have on the left hand side the last page, and on the right hand side the first page, and then last but one page is here, and then we can see here page numbers, page number 3 just at the opposite side of page number 78. So exactly what we wanted it to be, what we needed to be in order to be imposed as a bar, to be printed for a brochure. Back to process plan, just a few more things to mention. We have explained a couple of sequence steps here: a profile, a check, a fix-up, an action. There are more. and on the right hand side you see the UI for that. You can have a process plan in a process plan, which forms kind of a subroutine for your process plan. You can have a file pickup that will replace the active PDF with the previous version from that PDF while running through your process plan, or you can create a PDF copy just to save it and put it out at the end of the process plan as an additional result. That's what I wanted to cover in this video. So we have covered the wizard, fix-ups, checks, and process plans, and of course profiles. What we haven't covered are variables. That I think will be the next step. If you want to know more about that, a recommendation, and we have been there in this video, help.callas.com. The online documentation provides lots of information, amongst which you will find an article on variables and JavaScript, and variables in general, and that explains exactly what and for what four variables you can use and how you would set them up. And of course, we are also there to help. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send them to support@callas.com. We take that seriously, we watch that all the time, and you can expect to receive an answer quickly. Thanks for watching so far. I hope this is helpful for your work.